Hello.
Hello.
So, what games have you been playing lately?
Okay, well, as I just talked to you on, Skype a few minutes ago, I was playing a bit of Dark Seed.
Alright.
As I've been telling you, it's a bit fucked up, but...
Yeah. And as we just discovered, it's the guy who created the alien from Aliens.
Yeah, which I was surprised, because I was telling you about how my friend was really obsessed with, like, the artwork that... Is it Geiger? Is that how you
Yeah.
pronounce it? Geiger?
I assume so. It's a German name. It must be Geiger, like
Yeah.
the Geiger counter.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But, yeah, my friend was, like, really obsessed with that, his art, because he had all the books and shit with the crazy, fetuses in heroin needles and shit like that. And but no, I was pretty surprised that he also like designed the aliens and for some reason also created the design for Species, which I fucking hate that movie.
Oh, God, yeah. Horrible
Uh,
film. I remember that one.
um,
They made a sequel, too, didn't they?
yeah, which is just as bad,
Which is
or
even
maybe
worse.
worse.
A million times worse, almost. If that's possible.
But no, I've been playing a little bit of that, although I haven't been playing a lot of it. You get to see the first nightmare, which is I've seen two nightmares actually. There's one where you see the bloke literally get raped in the brain by an alien, where they shoot an alien fetus into his head, which is
God,
lovely.
I hate it when that happens.
It's
It's usually a Tuesday night when I drink too
with a
much.
phallic-shaped needle, of course.
Of course, yeah. Nothing like being fucked in the brain.
um, but there's another nightmare where he randomly you wake up and you have to go to the bathroom and get aspirin, otherwise your head explodes and it's game over.
This is
But you
just
have
all
to.
about Geiger's own life, I think.
But it's no, you have to do that, and it's kind of stupid if you don't. Like, it's really easy to get into the bathroom and just take the aspirin. You have to like spend forever to wait until you actually see the head explosion scene, because it's all based on time. I mean, you have to like wait 5 minutes of just doing nothing to see his head explode. But no, if you take the aspirin, that prevents you from seeing your head blow up. And the next bit is where you're constantly hearing a doorbell ring, so you have to go downstairs. And there's a policeman, not a policeman, a postman at the door, and he has a parcel for you. You open it up, and there's like a doll inside.
Oh, creepy.
But then but what's even more creepy is the fact that he sees it change into because he somehow possesses the ability to see into the dark world, and he sees the same doll if it was in the dark world, and it's just like this like fucking mess in a box. Basically, it looks nasty.
Oh,
Like tubes coming out of it and like tentacles, and its face is distorted. It's there.
And this guy's Swedish, not Japanese. It's hard to believe.
Yeah, it's not Japanese at all. And you go outside of the house, and you find this graveyard. What's hilarious is the fact that most of the names in the graveyard are from like characters from other adventure games. Like there's a tombstone for Guybrush Threepwood, which I thought was funny.
Guybrush Threepwood?
Yeah, from Escape from Monkey Island.
Oh, fucking hell.
Hi, I'm Guybrush Threepwood. I want to be a pirate. Yeah, so he has a tombstone in the game, which is kind of funny. There's a tomb that you can find, although I haven't been able to open it, which I think has something to do with the Dark World. And then I managed to like walk into the town, although I haven't really explored any further than that, but I ran across a YouTube video, and it's probably a couple of years old, and it's about this guy who did a couple of Halloween specials
Mhm.
where he reviews both. Well, one year he did Darkseid 1, and the other year he did Darkseid 2, and yeah, it's a pretty fucked up point and click adventure game.
Fucking hell. Yeah, Telltale has nothing on this guy. Telltale should get
um,
into the fucked up genre of adventure games. I mean, get somebody like Geiger. Is he still alive?
I guess
Let's see on IMDb if it says anything.
I
Yep, he
searched.
must be. He was born February 5th, 1940 in Chur, Switzerland, but it doesn't say anything about him being dead, so I assume
Yeah.
he's still alive and kicking at 72, still having fucking bizarre nightmares about getting fucked in the brain.
I'm trying to remember who, I was reading a little bit of history about the Darkseid games, and well, there's only two, but um, yeah, because the guy who writes the story for this game is actually the same. You play as a guy called Mike Dawson, but Mike Dawson is actually also a real person who came up with the story of the game. And as well as Mike Dawson being fucked up in Darkseid, he's also kind of fucked up in real life because he was meant to write the story for Darkseid 2, although apparently, from what I read on Wikipedia and some other sites, he had like a mental
Oh,
breakdown
Jesus.
near the end of the first Darkseid. So someone else had to take over the writing role for the story, and that's why some people didn't like Darkseid 2 because they thought it was a bit hokey.
Oh, God.
Like they tried to add humor into it, which really
Oh,
didn't work.
no.
So it's like dark, horrific shit mixed with really crappy humor. Didn't really mix very well.
It's like, look at the guy getting brain raped, and there's somebody slipping on a banana peel.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Jesus. Well, I'd be fucked up too and have a mental breakdown after seeing Geiger's art. I mean, fuck, from Alien. I mean, he made the
Nah,
Alien
I,
in
I
that,
don't
and
think
that
I don't think
that
he got
it
it
still gives me
from.
nightmares sometimes.
Nah, I mean what it says on Wikipedia was that he was actually tight for time when he was trying to do the writing for the first
Oh,
game. That he basically went a bit ape shit, and
Jesus Christ.
that caused him not to to write the story for the next game.
Fucking hell.
Because he also did his own voice acting because he
Oh,
basically just
really?
plays as himself in the game. So the game uses a lot of like FMV. You know how Lethal Enforcer and Mortal Kombat and
Hmm.
they all had like the
Pre-rendered FMV kind of
yeah. Well, he
video
actually even
for the
acted
characters.
himself in the game and had
Oh,
like
wow.
camera shot taken of him and
Did you say he
it,
finished the game in 1 year?
I can't remember how long he did this. Oh, let me have a hold on. View history.
So I wonder how
No.
long it takes to make a man go insane.
All I know is when I was reading the Wikipedia article for Darkseid 2, it mentions the real Mike Dawson suffering from a mental breakdown at the end of making Darkseid 1, and that's why he wasn't the writer for Darkseid 2.
Fucking hell. That's just really twisted. Poor fucking bastard. He's probably like coding and coding and coding 24 fucking 7, doing all the FMV sequences and action. It
Nah,
just,
I think all he did was just write the. He basically did the story and did the script. I don't think he
oh,
did
really?
He modeled himself for the FMV stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
he would walk down a side of the road and someone would like just camera him doing it.
Shit.
So, I mean, sure, he took on a lot, but that
Yeah.
is kind of what happens if you make yourself the lead character in a video game.
I think he's become too much of a method actor, and that's what drove him insane. I'm sure people like Johnny
Either
Depp
that
would
or
go
some
nuts some fucking
narcissistic
day.
maniac, but
Yeah.
to be in his own video game with a character with his own name who is also modeled by him and is basically an FMV model
Jesus
of him.
Christ. I think he became that character. He probably started seeing into the dark world. That's just nuts, man. But that's an old DOS game, right?
Yeah, Darkseid 1 was DOS and Darkseid 2
It's
was
PC.
Windows 3.
Windows 3. That's pretty fucking old. Fucking hell. But yeah, Geiger. When you showed me that art, I was like, that looks really freaky. I gotta look this fucking guy up. Sure enough, he's the guy that designed the fucking alien for Aliens and Species. And he even made his
One
own
very good movie,
films.
one very shit movie.
Yeah. Species. That was the one with the really hot chick. Who's that actress that played the hot chick in the first one?
I can't remember, but isn't she
I'll look
like
it up here.
Russian or something?
She must be. Yeah. Natasha Henstridge. You haven't heard from her in a long time, have you? At least I can't recall Natasha Henstridge being anything recently. She's from Alberta, Canada, apparently.
Oh, okay. I thought she was Russian, but nah.
She's probably a Russian Canadian.
Yeah.
Oh, she was, yeah, born in Springdale, Newfoundland, Canada, raised in Alberta, Canada. At the age of 14, she became a hitchhiker. No, did say she left her home and began her modeling career at 14. So maybe she was like, I'm just going to go strip for money.
Oh dear.
Because that was the only redeeming quality of that fucking film. Well, she's in quite a few TV movies. She was even in fucking CSI Miami last year, episode of that.
Oh, okay.
She was in Drop
I
Dead.
can't stand those TV shows.
Yeah, I don't watch them. That's why I haven't seen her.
It's like when I see, I see like a clip where they like try to improve a picture of a CCTV, and I just turn into the old man. I'm like, that's fucking, you can't do that. That's impossible. I'm
Yeah.
not doing.
Fucking
I'm like
hilarious,
a
though.
grumpy old man on an armchair, just like throwing my TV remote around and screaming at the TV.
They still do that.
It's like
TV shows like that. It's ridiculous.
It's like when they do like a genetics test, they can like put it off in a couple of hours. I'm like,
Yeah.
this fucking shit takes about
Yeah.
a month or two
It
to
takes 3
do.
weeks minimum if you're living in a small city. If you're living in a major city where they're backlogged for fucking 6 months,
Yeah,
it's a year.
yeah. I'm just
Funniest fucking thing I was watching, I think it was Prime Suspect the other day. It's another one of those police procedural dramas, but it's the one by J.J. Abrams. And it's got that one guy from Lost in it that played Ben Linus. But there was...
Is
there's,
that the fact? Like, that's the only person I know in Lost.
yeah.
All right, fair enough.
There was this funny scene where they actually get something right. Where like, well, I know it'll take you 3 weeks before you get the DNA results back. But previous to that, there was a scene where he's hacking some guy's fucking Wi-Fi network, and within 5 seconds, he's got all the web pages the guy has been like fucking visiting. And I'm like, no. Okay, the DNA thing is correct. But there's no way you're going to clone his Wi-Fi and clone people's phone in like 5 seconds. It takes a lot of work. You got to figure out, which Wi-Fi router he has. He's just on a little laptop. He should have like 10 fucking Wi-Fi routers connected to it, but you don't see because you got to go back and forth between different Wi-Fi routers in order to clone them. I mean, it's just stupid.
Oh god. That reminded me of a shit movie, Hackers.
Oh god, yeah, it's another one of those.
What is this? I love it. I love it how in the 90s you've either had really good movies or really shit movies.
Oh,
There's
hell.
nothing in between.
Yeah, the 90s were great for that. I mean, the 80s, lots of shit movies, but most of them had that pulpy kind of 80s feeling. So they were.
I mean, if you look at like 1981, for example, I mean, I really like the 80s for films because it's like you had Ghostbusters and you had the Indiana Jones films, and I'm trying to remember some others off the top of my head, and then you compare it to now where there's hardly anything, and I ended up watching Hunger Games.
Oh, I've seen that. Is it any good?
No.
I didn't think so. No.
um, yeah.
Oh my God, the Species chick was in a video game, Command and Conquer 3: Kane's Wrath. She played
Really?
Alexa Kovacs. Yes, really.
Okay.
Apparently, there was a Species 3 movie.
Oh, fuck.
I think it was direct to video. It just says video.
What
Yeah,
is
she played
direct
Eve
to
in it.
TV?
Yeah.
That's how
Direct to the
shitty the film
bar
is.
because it's got a 4.1 on IMDb. But yeah, apparently she played some character in that. She played some character named Eve. So yeah,
It's probably just another alien again.
she really didn't get past the old Species thing. Just direct to TV is what she's been in since. It's always interesting to me to look and see like those actresses, really hot actresses you see in a movie, and you're like, fucking hell, she's so hot. And then find out, I wonder if she turned into a prostitute later in life. I wonder if she's doing porn films right now.
Run into so much debt she has to suck someone's dick to basically make more money.
In the first place, probably. The casting couch is not a myth. It's real. It's fucking real. Korea, especially, there was a big scandal a couple of years ago in which a bunch of pretty famous Korean actresses like came out and told their story about how they pretty much just got their jobs from sucking cock. And one of the guys, a producer of some big production company here in Korea, I think he got thrown in jail for it.
Oh, wow.
Basically just prostitution. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's how a lot of the famous Hollywood starlets of back in the day became so famous.
Daddy.
Yeah, they never tell you that, you know, that Meryl Streep fucked a goat in order to become a famous actress.
Fuck?
I'm exaggerating.
Oh, Christ, now I can't. Oh, no. No, oh, you put a
Now I
bad
put
image
the
in my
image in
head.
your head. Meryl Streep. Meh.
Oh. I can't take it seriously now. No, you just said that.
And she plays the Queen of England. No, she doesn't play the Queen of England. She plays Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah.
Wonder if Margaret Thatcher fucked a goat.
Ooh, I don't really want to know, to be brutally honest. Ugh.
Oh, come on. You're going to imagine Meryl Streep when you go to bed tonight fucking goats and
I hope not.
wake up with a boner.
Otherwise, I won't be able to sleep at all. Disturbed the rest of the night.
You're not going to sleep now. Well, of course not. You've been playing fucking Darkseid. And now
I think knowing that Meryl Streep fucked a goat is more disturbing than playing Darkseid.
I don't know about that. Both equally pretty fucked up. But any other games you've been playing?
No, although I have been on eBay.
eBay, oh shit.
And I actually found someone selling a shit ton of Atari 2600 carts, and
really cheap.
Yeah, it works out to be a cartridge. And what's even cooler is one of the cartridges is a 32-in-1 cartridge.
32
so
fucking hell, 79p a cartridge. That's really cheap.
Yeah,
it's $1, right?
So what we got here, we've got 2 copies of Boxing. One box, one without a box. There's a boxed copy of Midnight Madness.
They're all boxed.
No, just Boxing and Midnight Madness. All the others are just cartridges on their own. But I can see that there's Pele's Soccer, Reaction. I think that's Asteroid. I cannot see what the fuck that is. There's Spider-Man Adventure. There's some tennis. There's a cartridge with like a couple playing tennis. It doesn't actually say what the game's called. There's Combat. There's the 32-in-1 cartridge. There's Action Man, Action Force. There's Pac-Man, Chess, Jungle Hunt, Centipede, Galaxian, Exoset, and Video Chess.
Wow. Is it a buy now or is it an auction the
No,
other
it's
way?
an auction, but I'm still the highest bidder though,
Oh,
and
that's
I've
good.
got 2 days and 20 hours left.
I'll cross my fingers that you win it because that's a shitload of fucking awesome games.
Yeah, apparently, I want to find out what this Exoset is because
Exoset. I've never heard of that.
he calls it a rare game.
Really?
And I never heard of it, so I'm gonna have to try and look this up. Exoset Atari 2600. Here comes Google. Do.
Your last name is Google, isn't it? Game Google.
Oh, that'd be awesome if Google was your surname.
That would be fucking wicked. You could sue Google. Be like, you took my fucking name, you bastards.
Okay, Exoset by Panda. Oh, I'm watching a video for it.
Yeah, I
What
can hear
the
that.
hell?
Sounds like a
I
shooter.
really can't tell what the hell this is.
Sounds like a shooter.
Yeah, it's a shooter, but like, there's like an underground bit.
You go under the ground.
It looks like it looks sort of like, what is it called? Scramble, but there's
Oh,
like
really?
underground bit, and this video hasn't got as far as the underground bit, which
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Check it out on Atari Age and see how rare it is.
Well, I'm on this random site called Atari Guide. Okay, let's go to Atari Age. They'll probably
Atari Age
go.
has always got the more accurate, I think, readings of how scarce or rare something is. I always check them to see.
Right.
It's a very
There it
simple.
is. So Exoset. Panda end label rarity 6.
That's pretty rare.
Yeah, that's rare plus.
Yeah.
According to this.
It's pretty fucking rare.
So it's made by a company called Panda, which I've never heard before.
Panda. Wonder if they're based in China.
I still don't get this.
The art was made by H.R. Geiger, probably.
There's actually a box scan, and it just looks like a generic spaceship.
Oh, really? Usually the art for the Atari 2600 is really awesome.
I love the fact that it says Atari 26 video game is actually bigger than the logo for Exoset.
Oh my god, that's great.
It's just like, it literally says at the top of this box, it's like, for use with Atari 2600 video game, for Sears 2600 telegames, compatible systems, and then there's like Exoset in a smaller font.
Oh shit. I guess they're not really excited about their game, more about the fact whatever this pile of code is, it'll run on your really awesome 2600.
We're not going to tell you what the name of the game is.
I hope you get it, because fucking 6+ rare game, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm surprised this guy hasn't like, actually, what did he start with? Wow, he even started at 99p.
Shit. How many people are you bidding against right now?
There's 3 other people. Some guy cranked it up to 12 quid, and then I put 12 quid 50. So,
because if they know anything about Atari games, they're going to see that game is worth the whole lot.
Well, I, as per usual, they've hidden all the names of the other bidders, so I haven't got a clue what they are. But
fucking eBay started doing that. Jesus Christ.
Well, it's an option that sellers can do.
Oh, really?
And pretty much everyone does it now. So
that's fucking stupid. I mean, how are you going to be able to find out who they are so you can go to their house and, break their computer so that they can't outbid you? Like, I really want this 6+ rare game. Where do you live again? We have the eBay killer. There was the Craigslist killer. Then there's the eBay computer killer. Just some guy randomly goes around to people that are bidding against him and breaks their computers.
See, what's this? I'm trying to work out what this cartridge is I can't read. Oh, okay. He's got the list here. Okay, it's Real Sports, but he's got 2 lots of that. Where's the other one? I only see 1 cartridge. I can see Combat,
Mm-hmm.
which he's got 2 cartridges of, but
Everybody's got 2 cartridges of Combat except for me.
I've probably got Combat somewhere. Bloody hell!
Actually, Scott is
Three.
supposed to be sending me Combat soon.
I've got. I'll end up with like 3 copies of Combat. uh,
I live in Korea, and I'll
I just
probably
wish I
end
had
up
a
getting them.
fucking Atari that would work.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
I just wish I could just be bothered to get a hold of Scott and just be like, "Oi, just give me the resistors that fucking work," rather than these idiots online that are telling me to get one resistor and use another resistor and then use potentiometers that still don't fucking work. And
My brother recently picked up a 6-switch light, but I'm not sure if it works because Atari made in Taiwan, 6-switcher, light 6er.
Oh.
But I'm not sure if it works because I tried to get my father to hook it up to the TV while I was over Skype, but he just like, fuck it, I'm not going to fuck with it. Next time you come to America, you can check it out then.
Yeah.
My brother claims he couldn't get it to work. So, but at the very least, he only paid $3 for it, and I do need some extra controllers and paddles, and there were a couple games that came with it. One was like Circus Atari.
All right. Yeah, I've got Circus Atari. I haven't been able to play it though because I have a machine I can't be bothered to fix. But I'm actually tempted just to get another 2600 that actually works, so I don't have to piss about with the RF. Well, the RF and the AV. But
what do they sell for an Atari 2600 in UK?
Well, I got mine for a tenner, which is probably a bit too much when the one that I've got right now.
Especially consider it's broken.
Well, I broke it.
Oh, you broke it. Atari killer.
Atari killer. Well, I haven't broken it. I mean, it works. It's just that if I play with it too long, it's gonna fuck my TV up.
Well, fuck the TV. Atari's more important.
Well, how on earth am I going to continue to play Atari if the Atari kills my TV?
Just keep buying more TVs. I go through 3 TVs a week, bitch. I'm a real Atari player.
Atari 2600 plus games. What have we got here? So he's paddles. He's got. Okay, so he's got. All he's got is just the 2600 with a pair of paddles and nothing else. And then there's Yar's Revenge, 2 copies of Asteroids, 2 copies of Pac-Man, Star Raiders, Mario Brothers, Donkey Kong, Frogger, and Combat.
Oh shit!
And that's for £25.50. Although 11 people have been bidding on it.
Oh right.
So it looks like people are fighting over this. And I can also see that he's missed out that he has a copy of Indy 500 as well, which I can actually see. And Super Breakout. He's clearly forgotten to write these down.
Sounds like it. So this is a different guy you're talking about, and he's got an Atari with some games for how much?
It was £25.50, but it looks like people have been trying to bid on it quite a bit. Because
Can't you just pick one up somewhere? Like at a flea market or something?
No, there isn't really anywhere that sells retro... Well, there isn't anywhere that you can get an Atari from a shop.
All right.
I mean, there is one place I know where I can, like, pick up, like, old NES games and stuff, but the fucking idiot at the shop just charges an arm and a leg for it, and...
Well, just if you're really wanting to get one and you can't find one for less than fucking £50, I would say ask SoCal if he can pick one up at a swap meet for a couple of bucks and then just pay like the shipping.
Yeah, but if he gets one, I mean, if he gets, but that's going to be an NTSC model though.
Oh right, shit! I keep forgetting. Your strange PAL standard. Buy an NTSC TV then.
Well, the interesting thing is that I could swap out the Stellar chips because the only difference is the Stellar chip. I mean, I could rip out the Stellar chip from my PAL Atari 2600 and shove it into the new one that so Cal could send me, but I don't want to have to do that.
Yeah.
I'm too fucking lazy.
Lazy Brit.
I've got lazy bastard syndrome. You got to understand. And there's a guy selling an Atari, a 2600 Junior with Pac-Man again. Defender, Super Breakout, Donkey Kong, Galaxian. What the hell is... Okay, pole position in some other game I can't read. Volleyball.
Oh.
And this comes with one joystick, 2 paddles, and a keyboard.
Keyboard.
Yeah, it's the touchpad
Wicked.
thing.
Yeah.
And he's there's been 11 bids on that, and that's now £8.50.
Oh shit, that's pretty good.
He
says it's working and everything. He's a pretty reputable seller.
He's got 100% feedback, and
how many feedbacks?
He's got
2.
84.
Oh, that's good then.
The whole set has been stored and not used for many years. I do not have an analog TV anymore to check this function. Oh, great. So he hasn't actually tested it.
He hasn't tested it. That's why it's so cheap. Yeah. But hell, I mean, the Atari that SoCal sent me from the States has got a little hole in the back of it where somebody's obviously dropped it. But it still works perfectly fine. But the Light 6er that my brother found has a giant fucking hole in the back of it. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to spend the money to have it shipped here, only to find out that the board has been cracked or something.
Yeah, there you go. Someone's selling a set of games where one of them has Kangaroo, and I don't know if I mentioned this to you a while back, but Kangaroo was a game that I played on the 2600 at a youth club I used to go to.
And, yeah, I think you mentioned that.
Yeah, and Kangaroo is kind of like a Donkey Kong clone.
Oh, wicked!
You pick up punching gloves to punch shit. I can't remember what it was you're actually punching, but there's like a monkey that's like stolen your kidnapped the Joey, and you have to go and rescue it.
I hate it when that happens. Usually on Tuesday nights after I've been fucked in the brain by an alien.
Ooh, okay, this is interesting. There's another Atari 2600 Junior, but it comes with a grey joystick.
Oh, really? What about getting an Atari 7800 with that's backward compatible with Atari?
I didn't even know if we ever had this. What is it, 7800?
Yeah, it's a newer model back.
Yeah.
90s and stuff.
I'll have to see, because I have no idea if... I just don't know if we ever had Sony 800s over here.
I'm sure
all
must have.
Well, it's literally just thrown like a billion fucking... just... What? Oh, okay, Atari ST games. I don't want Atari ST. Okay, 2600s.
So if you can get that 7800 cheaper, then it's definitely worth it, because I believe it has a composite out, doesn't it? 7800.
I don't know.
I think it does.
Ooh, hello. I didn't know. Oh wow. There is actually a version of Miner 2049er for the 2600.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, I found a bunch of 7800 games, but where's the console?
Yeah, the Atari 7800 came out in '86.
So that was roughly about the same time that they released the NES in the US.
Mm-hmm. They were trying to get back into the console market.
No, I haven't even come across a bloody console yet. There's a whole shit ton of like Atari ST, Atari 2600, and then there's been a few 7800 carts, but I cannot find a bloody console anywhere. I'm not finding one, so I don't know if
maybe they never came out
in
Europe.
It was rare, or I don't know.
It may not have ever come out in Europe. It may have just been a US only thing.
Maybe.
I'm not seeing anything on Wikipedia about it being in other countries.
In 1986, we also introduced the next generation of video game systems. the new 7800, and it was an immediate smash hit. Early in '87, new super game titles like one-on-one basketball, Winter Games, and Sky Fox will be released to take advantage of the 7800's great graphics, lifelike animation, and superb sound effects. Plus, there will be other hot new titles from such top software companies as Activision, Electronic Arts, Broderbund, and Epix. And at under $100, the 7800 is one of the best home entertainment values in the world. That's why we're telling millions of consumers that Atari has reinvented the video game.
Or hell, get a ColecoVision and get one of those Atari add-on things. What do I have to do to play my Atari? I have to fucking buy a ColecoVision in order to do it. Because I really want Atari. Was ColecoVision was the only company that made a Atari add-on, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just fucking hilarious. How the hell that would be like today if the Xbox 360 came with a PS3 add-on. Just clip this into the USB port.
That'll be all kinds of emulation fuck up. That really would.
Just plug in this Blu-ray player and you can play PS3 games. We're not going to be sued. There's no way. I just find it funny that they were sued and still won the case. It would never happen today. No way.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I remember hearing rumors like ages ago, back in like the early '90s, that someone was going to like create this like crazy hybrid console that was like an NES, a Super Nintendo, a Master System, and a Mega Drive fused into one machine.
Yeah, I remember seeing those in magazines and shit, but it never came out, did it?
Yeah, it had like this crazy design to it as well, where you had to like slide a plastic bar to get to the different cartridge slots which were on it. But
I know some guy modded.
I think it was just. I just think it was just a huge rumor and people were just bullshitting.
Well, I do know somebody made one themselves. I saw on YouTube one time. He basically just put all the systems together into one big case, and it just plays all that shit.
Yeah, but did he build it into one motherboard, or was it just
no, of course not.
Consoles in a box?
Basically, just consoles in a box stuck together.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen some guy like basically cram like about 6 consoles into a wooden box, and it just looks terrible.
Frankensteining your system.
Yeah. Because originally the Super Nintendo was going to be compatible with, well, the Super Famicom was originally designed so that you could play Famicom games on it. Oh, wow. Though they were running out of time, they were also running out of budget in order to pull that off. Correct. So they had to and they found loads of like hardware constraints. So if they were going to do it, the games weren't going to. The actual Super Nintendo games wouldn't look as good. Oh. So they actually had to pull that out and just say, look, if we want to take advantage of the hardware, we have to create this new cartridge that does all this, and we have to make these new games. And we can't really make it backward compatible. So they scrapped that idea, and there was a Japanese hardware manufacturer called I think they were called Tri-Wing or something. And they created the Tri-Wing adapter that allowed you to actually play Famicom games on the
Super Famicom.
But no, it's similar to the Master System adapter that you can get on the Mega Drive.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, so there's
Are they pretty rare? Can you get those today?
I don't. All I know is that they only made a Famicom version. They didn't make a NES version. I think if you wanted to play NES games on it, you had to get a 72-pin adapter for it.
And then it becomes like the Genesis. It's like stacking.
Yeah.
It's a good idea that Nintendo didn't try to make the Super Nintendo backwards compatible, because it would have gone the way of the fucking Genesis. I mean, they would have been, if they would have had like the CD add-on as well. Can you imagine that? I think the console industry would have died right there. which
But
may have
what
been a
was
good
kind of-
thing.
Because they did have one prototype that did manage to pull it off, but that was before they dabbled into things like Mode 7 and some. I think the prototype only had like 2/3 of the RAM that the final system actually had.
Oh,
But
shit.
what was kind of cool with the prototype design for the Super Famicom was that the power switch actually had 3 positions.
All right.
So you actually had on for Super Famicom, you had an off, and then you had an on for Famicom.
Oh, wow.
So you had to like switch it for the appropriate cartridge that you're using.
Oh, wicked.
Um,
I just have a Super Famicom Junior, so it's definitely not going to play original Famicom games. But I did run into a clone system the other day, last weekend. I was searching. I did a new Korean market video, and I was just looking around. I didn't buy it because they wanted $45 for a Korean cloned Famicom that looks like it's like a big plastic turtle, and it looks like it has Dreamcast controllers on it. I'm like, what the fuck? There's no way I'm paying $45 for this.
there's a TurboGrafx in Japan that's sort of shaped like a turtle. I think it's called the Satellite.
All right.
The PC Engine Satellite. It looks. I look at it and it looks
It looked like a shuttle.
like a cross between a turtle and like the Star Trek Enterprise.
Yeah. It's kind of like if a turtle and the Star Trek Enterprise mated. This is what would happen.
Okay.
Or if H.R. Geiger fucking invented a console. This is what you would get.
No, if H.R. Geiger invented a console, there'll be like fucking needles and tentacles coming out of it. There'll be like a distorted head in the middle of it, and you had to open its mouth to put cartridges into it.
And it would come with a warning that would say something like,
You will suffer from a mental illness after playing this for too many hours.
yes. Or something like, boy, that chick from Species was really hot. I just can't get over her. Oh, and I made this console from my twisted, distorted, fucked up mind. And it'll play Famicom games just because.
No, as I said before, I wouldn't mind getting myself hold of a Famicom and the Famicom Disk System, just because the Famicom Disk System allows for FM channel sound out for it, so you can actually get like Metroid and Kid Icarus and a few other games, like Castlevania 3 as well, that actually have better sounds than the Western counterparts, because they actually have like the added bass and the added channels that were used in order to create better sound.
But the only problem, of course, is that those discs are pretty unreliable. Even going to Japan,
it's the drive
you'd have to
belt.
buy several of them to get one to
It's
work.
the drive belt, and then you've got to. If it's a writable disc, someone may have put a different game on it.
Right, because they had those kiosks back in there. You could just stick a disc in and write over a game.
Yeah.
Or you could go into the shop and say, I want this game.
Yeah, see, that's why you have to go with the blue discs, but the problem is the blue discs they're not very common.
Right.
Because
Well,
the blue discs were...
Go ahead.
The blue discs were read-only.
Oh, right. So you can't...
You know that when you've got the game, it actually says, because they tried to prevent piracy by creating those blue discs.
Right.
But by the time they did it, they'd already figured out how to do like battery backup and larger cartridge sizes.
Mm-hmm.
So they just went back to cartridges.
All right, nice. Doesn't the Famicom disk system have like a place where you put batteries in it?
No. I think it's just mains driven. It's similar to what you were talking about, where the Sega Genesis you had to stack shit on shit. You did have to have a separate power supply to run the Famicom disk system.
It's like basically turning the Famicom into a computer.
Kind of. I mean, the Famicom originally was meant to be a microcomputer, like a competitor to the MSX. Okay. It's just that you had to buy the keyboard and the tape deck. There was actually a tape deck for the Famicom, and you had to get those separately.
That's crazy. So I know Atari tried to do that, turn their Atari 2600 into a computer that never quite worked out.
Yeah, you could actually have BASIC running on the Famicom, and apparently a few people made demo tapes for Famicom games
really?
on that same system. In similar way to how you got Commodore 64 demos and stuff like that.
Oh, weird.
But if you've ever seen the Famicom keyboard, it looks nasty.
Oh yeah. It's kind of like a ZX Spectrum keyboard, or worse.
No, it just the keys look too small. If you ever look at one, it looks weird. It's like think of like a laptop keyboard, but then make each key rectangle and about half the height. Not half the height, like half the depth. So it's like really, really tiny keys.
So like a netbook.
Sort of, but
worse than a netbook.
Okay, think of a netbook, but every single key is like an F key. So it's like teeny tiny. It's like you literally have to type with your pinky in order to actually type.
Oh, I imagine if you're a T-Rex, you'd have no problem typing on the fucking thing. But the human population, yeah, a little difficult.
But yeah, the keyboard also had when you got the keyboard, you also got the tape deck, and you had your cartridge which ran BASIC, and it was just originally the Famicom. I mean, the Famicom is literally family computer, and Nintendo had the idea of releasing a very cheap microcomputer to the industry, although they didn't realize that they made themselves a games console in similar light to the what was it called? What was Bandai's console? I think it's called the
Wonder Swan.
No, not the Microvision. Microvision was
Wonder Swan.
Else. No, Bandai released a really derivative. I mean, the Atari looked better than it.
I mean, they made an actual like console, not a handheld.
Yeah, it's a console. It only supported about 3 colors at once. It was pretty bad. Oh shit, what was it called? I remember looking it up one day.
The Shit Swan. The Bandai Shit Swan. They wondered why it didn't work.
No, that's it. It was called the Cassette Vision.
The Cassette Vision. All right.
Yeah, it was like the first Japanese games console that had interchangeable cartridges on it. Like before that, every other machine, including Nintendo consoles, were basically multi-Pong games.
Yeah.
But the first real like cartridge-based games console in Japan, as far as I'm aware, was a piece of kit that Bandai made, which was called the Cassette Vision.
I think I've seen them in like the console museum before, and they're really fucking weird looking.
Yeah, they're weird looking, and the games are appalling. I just looked at one, and I was looking at Galaga, and it honestly looks like Space Invaders if they made Space Invaders really shit.
If H.R. Geiger had a nightmare about Space Invaders.
No. I mean, it's like it basically is a really shitty version of Space Invaders if you didn't have to have the color filters thrown in front of it.
Oh shit!
Because it was just red, green, and yellow, and those are the only colors that were on the screen.
Oh god, it's like puke or something. Gross.
So it's pretty awful.
It's called the Cassette.
The MSX came out, and that was a microcomputer which obviously performed way better than the Cassette Vision. Although the problem with the first MSX is it couldn't perform scrolling very well, and that's where the Famicom had the advantage, because Famicom did actually have proper scrolling on it, and it wouldn't be until Sony made I think it was either Sony or Hitachi created the MSX2 that actually had the scrolling support on it.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty weird. Yeah, so it was basically like the Japanese Atari level of graphics, probably.
The cassette vision, yeah.
Cassette vision.
I would probably even say that the Atari 2600 had better graphics than the
In the
cassette
cassette vision. But did it use cassettes? It's called cassette vision.
No, it was cartridges. It's just that for some bizarre reason, it kind of like how people say Nintendo
Tapes, yeah.
They called, for a very short period, they called cartridges cassettes.
Japanese are just bizarre. Between them and the Swiss.
But no, it's just that the MSX came out at a ridiculous price. It was like, I can't remember the actual price, but it was like somewhere around $400.
Jesus Christ!
And
it was the 3DO of its day.
And then the Famicom was released at somewhere around $170 when it came out.
That's what Nintendo is really good at, undercutting the competition with cheap consoles. They've been doing that since the beginning of their console making. Since they started making fucking video games.
Yeah, and they did actually want it, like I said, they wanted it to make it into a microcomputer, though they ended up just making a console like the Cassette Vision and the Atari, and it was kind of a mistake that they made without knowing it, and they went, oh, okay, we've made a success, we might as well just go with it.
Yeah, and it's been wonderful ever since. Except now that they're still making GameCubes. The new Wii is just going to be 3 GameCubes duct taped together.
There's that silly controversy about people who have already managed to get themselves the Wii U dev kits.
Oh, really?
And there are some people that are like saying, we can't do shit with this, and there are some people that are like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Oh, really?
And no one really understands what the hell's going on, because
so who to believe?
There's either a lot of bullshit or a lot of propaganda going on, and no one really knows what the hell is going on. So unless E3 happens, we don't really know what's going to happen. But yeah, nothing's been officially revealed because no one can actually reveal the tech information for the dev kits.
Oh, really?
Because everything is under embargo as per usual.
So when is the Wii U expected to release?
Well, they're saying this year, so it's more likely going to be released at Christmas time.
And the new PS4 isn't coming out until 2013.
More likely to be last year. Last year?
Last year, that'd be cool.
Next year.
So 2013 is next year.
Probably around the same time that the new Xbox comes out as well.
So that's 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not this Christmas, but next Christmas.
Well, okay. Wii U is coming out in 2012, and the next PlayStation and the next Xbox is coming out next year in 2013.
Yeah. And I've read that the PS4 is basically just like the Xbox. It's another PC. They're using a graphics card and normal computer GPU or CPU and everything.
I was giggling to myself when I was hearing about the specifications for the new Xbox. I'm thinking to myself, the graphics card in this, I have a better graphics card in my PC.
Yeah.
Than because it was, what was it, 6670?
Yeah, the same thing that the PS4 is going to be using.
Which is like, I've got a 6770. My PC's still better than this.
Yeah, and by the time it comes out, it'll be like a 4-year-old computer, entry level.
Exactly.
Entry level.
And everybody's like jumping around, and they're like, "Oh, new Xbox, yay!" And it's just like, well, my PC still does better.
Like I posted an article on wastedseconds.com, which was the PS4 and the console apocalypse. How PS4 is going to ruin the consoles, and no one's going to buy it. And probably no one's going to buy the 720 either.
Yeah, but that's the thing, because they've been talking about the whole, like the background DRM bullshit, which is basically going to ruin second-hand sales of games.
Well, like I said, you have to go through an online authentication. I mean, that sounds familiar. Who else does that? Oh, the fucking PC does that. All right. It's a fucking PC. That's all it is. It's a overpriced, underpowered entry-level PC with Sony's closed system again. Thank you very much, innovators. Fucking
That and I saw an article on Kotaku that were like, these are going to be the next generation graphics, and I posted this on Facebook, and I'm like, apart from extra environmental dynamic lighting, there's nothing really new going on here.
I think they should just kill off the console generation for about 20 years until they can come up with the virtual reality console. If they come up with one of those, I mean, not like the Virtual Boy.
It'll be 1992 all over again.
Yeah, but not like the Virtual Boy, but like a real virtual reality this time. This time we're not fucking with you, Nintendo says. Have real virtual reality.
Oh no, we're gonna watch Power Rangers and Doug on TV.
And we have tons of hentai games.
Okay.
Nintendo just goes wild. Nintendo gone wild. Our new hentai virtual reality system. Only in Japan.
Nah.
I heard Sony was developing some kind of virtual reality kind of thing. I saw some mock-ups somewhere. These giant fucking goggles that you put on your head, and
yeah, but the whole reason why virtual reality wasn't successful was because of the fact you had to put something on your fucking face.
yeah,
That's why virtual reality never succeeded.
too heavy, makes you sweat like a bitch, gives you a headache. It's not exactly a good selling point.
I mean, I managed to play like a virtual reality thing oh god, I can't remember how far back that was, but like I remember the fucking thing was heavy. I mean, when it weighs down your head, that's not a pleasant thing to have.
Well, hell no. If you can't turn your head left and right to see the virtual world without breaking your neck.
Well, you could, but it's like imagine putting I don't know, like a shit ton of books on your head. That was like what it was.
Now that's virtual reality.
It was just I don't see, unless the only way in which virtual reality is going to work is I actually watched a documentary about this, and there was a guy that was talking about this, and he was like, virtual reality was not a success just because of the fact you had to wear fucking crazy goggles and shit.
Yeah.
And he said that the only way it was ever going to work properly is if there was some form of technology where they can actually put an image into your brain without having a piece of equipment over your face.
Well, that's always 50 years down the road.
If there is.
That'll never happen. It'll probably happen someday.
Or it can be like the PlayStation, or it can be like the PlayStation 9, where it's just a narcotic. Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't. What's that from?
That was ages ago. That was when the PlayStation 2 came out. That was the American commercial for it. It was like,
No way.
It was like, imagine what the PlayStation 9 can be, and it literally is like a bloke like ripping into like a gel ball and then like drinking this shit out of it, and then it's like starting tripping out and starts seeing shit, and I'm like, great. So Sony are going to invent drugs in the future that's going to make us play games in a hallucinogenic state. Yeah.
Is that one of David Lynch's PlayStation commercials? It sounds like it.
But like he's starting to like do like parkour on these buildings, and there's like a dude chasing after him with like a laser gun, and then he magically gets a gun back and starts shooting behind him, and there's like he then jumps into a car and he like starts chasing after someone, and yeah, just you should be able to look that up on YouTube.
I'll insert it here if I can find the clip.
Yeah, I put in PlayStation 2 commercial PlayStation 9. Because that's what they call it. It's like, imagine what the PS9 can be.
Imagine if H.R. Geiger and David Lynch got together and made a console.
That'd be really fucked up.
It's the PlayStation 11.
That should be made illegal.
It should be, yeah.
H.R. Geiger must not do anything with Lynch ever.
It's like Eraserhead, only more fucked up.
At least 5 miles away from each other at all times.
They should, yeah. They should, like, if they get anywhere near each other, like an alarm should go off and they should get electric shock.
New for 2078. PlayStation 9's new electronic spores tap straight into your adrenal gland. PS9 has improved retinal scanning. A mind control system. Holographic movie surround vision. And telepathic personal music. The ultimate just got better. PlayStation 9. Teleport yours today.
To your dream gland? What the fuck is this woman talking about?
That is just fucked up, man.
This guy is really tripping out.
Yeah. The PS9. It's a jelly ball.
Yeah, it's a jelly ball with drugs inside.
It's a snow globe with drugs instead of snow.
Okay, I honestly thought there was like a clip of him like jumping over buildings and shit, but no, it's just
a needle.
I just watched
like,
that.
yes,
And it's just like, yes, Sony is going to create narcotics in 2070.
They'll just come out with a press release. Guys, we've totally lost our shit and we've run out of ideas. So here's some drugs for you.
Just get high.
Yes. I mean, the new Wii U 2 million is allows you to stick a cable in the back of your neck and go into a virtual reality. So
Yeah.
we're just gonna fucking call it drugs. Exactly what it is. Coming from Sony, the new "Fuck You in the Brain" console, inspired
by H.R. Geiger. They fuck someone in the forehead with a phallic needle and a fucking alien.
You're already fucked in the brain enough to keep buying PlayStations after we passed the third one. You might as well just take a narcotic. Because you're obviously on something to still support Sony after all these years.
Well, we haven't seen anything yet. I mean, they could do something impressive, but to be brutally honest, I don't. At this point, I really don't expect graphics to be any better than they are now.
They're not going to do much more. I mean, they should spend more time on game development than they should spend on new consoles. I mean, look at like L.A. Noire. Sure, it's a shit game, but the fucking facial recognition stuff, the facial acting that's used in that should be the future of the new generation. Better looking human type characters that look more and more realistic. And they don't need a new fucking generation of consoles to do that. They can do that on the current gen. They just need to, spend a little bit more time making them look more realistic. But not like they did for L.A. Noire. It took them 10 fucking years to make that game?
Yeah, it was originally it was going to be like
Adventure.
An early PS2 game.
All right, yeah.
But then they got too caught up in making Grand Theft Auto 3. So,
well, no, it was some other company. It was some small company that apparently was ran by a dictator from Nazi Germany. Because of all the stories I've heard about the company that made that, which is now dissolved. They were treating their employees like shit, overworking them, underpaying them. The company's been sued.
Which company is this?
Company that originally was developing... Shit, there's a fucking airplane flying over and I can hear it.
Yeah, I can hear it as well.
This microphone is too goddamn good. Let's wait for the airplane to go over. Go away, airplane. The new PS9. It's an airplane. But,
it's an airplane in your living room. Holy shit!
But yeah, apparently the company that made it, which I can't remember who it is.
Wait, who's the company? What are we talking about here? All you said was there's a company run by a Nazi dictator. No, a Nazi dictator, and I'm like, which company? It's
pretty big news because Rockstar Games bought them, but It was originally started by a different company.
Oh, you mean LA Noire was?
Yeah,
Oh wow. Okay.
it was.
Why would Nazi dictators be interested in LA
No.
people? Um,
Oh, it was Team Bondi that made it.
that's a Australian team, isn't it?
But is it an Australian Rockstar team?
No, an Australian development team.
Yeah, but it's not. It wasn't affiliated with Rockstar. They just published it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Team Bondi, which is now
But
defunct.
Bondi was controlled by a Nazi dictator.
Well, from what I've heard in the news reports about it, that they just like the guy who was running it was such a fucking dictator and treated the coders like so much shit that
Right.
when they finally finished making the game, they all fucking quit, sued Team Bondi out of existence. So we'll never see
Right.
any more games from Team Bondi. But that technology that they use, if they could do that in games in this generation, then why don't they just do that and stop fucking around changing the consoles every 6 years or 10 years? I mean, they've all become PCs now. They might as well just,
I mean, the only system
somehow.
The only system now which is still going to be a console is going to be the Wii U. But
Yeah, but it's still
no
the
one knows what its spec is, so
Yeah.
we don't know if it's meant to be on par with the current generation or if it's meant to be a bit higher. There's some people that are saying it's a bit low, which is kind of worrying.
pretty sure.
And
Or knowing that-
because the people that make the Darksiders games, they're the ones that are like freaking out that it's like the most amazing thing that they ever used in their lives, and I don't know if that's like pre-made propaganda or
definitely.
but at least some third party is really liking the Wii U. But it's I don't know. The likelihood of me getting into the next generation is that I'm probably not going to purchase the Wii U and the 720 and the PS4 on release date. I'm just going to wait till everything just gets cheap.
Same here. Like, I'm not buying the PS Vita until it's a lot cheaper because in Korea it's just out fucking outrageously expensive.
I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until the PS Vita becomes smaller because if you see one of those things, they are a bit big.
Yeah, they're like just as big as the PSP Fat.
No, they're bigger than a PSP Fat.
But they weigh a little bit less, unfortunately. I've held one and played it, and it doesn't seem that heavy compared to like the PSP Fat, but it's definitely a lot heavier than a PSP 3000 or PSP Lite.
And it's definitely bigger than the PSP 1000. I know that for certain.
The size, like the
yeah, I mean the screen's bigger, so they had to.
Yeah, the screen is about the size of the PSP Fat.
About the size of the PSP 1000.
Yeah.
Speaking of PSP, I completely forgot about this, but in Europe there's a special like Europe exclusive PSP called the PSP Street.
Yeah, I've heard about that. How is it selling there?
Yeah, there was a price reduction, so clearly it's not selling.
It was already at $100, wasn't it? £100.
Nah, they've now reduced. They've reduced it down to 69 quid now.
Jesus Christ! It doesn't have Wi-Fi or anything, right?
Yeah, it's gimped. There's no Wi-Fi connection. So if you want to play downloaded games on it, you either have to hook it up to a PC or to a PS3 to actually send the downloaded game to your system. I mean, it's all right if, say, you want to like mod it. If modding it is going to be, because do bear in mind it's rigged up with all the latest firmware, so I don't know.
Well, it
how
doesn't
easy
matter.
It's going to be modded,
the latest firmware was cracked a long time ago.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But
all it takes is a very easy little hen that you put on your memory stick. Little hen program.
Okay.
It's very easy for the latest firmware. Some of the homebrew will not work because they haven't recoded it for the latest firmware, but most of the stuff works. I'm on the previous one to the last one that they've made, but they made one more since the one I have on mine, And I just haven't updated because everything's working great on mine right now. So like, fuck it, I'm not going to update to the latest one. Plus, while I was trying to update to the last one, the one that was the new one at the time, my fucking PSP I had it plugged in, battery was 100% charged. In mid installation, the fucking thing just froze up and stopped and said error message 897 or some other fucking long error message. And I was like, oh fuck, Sony bricked my fucking PSP, because this was not the custom firmware thing I was adding. This was the a regular firmware update. I was like, oh goddamn, they fucking bricked my system, those bastards. And then I turned it off, took the battery out, put the battery back in, and sure enough, it started back up. It actually had installed, but it still gave me an error message. And then I put the.
I heard that you can. Apparently, there's something weird about the battery packs on those. Like the apparently you can fix bricks PSPs by doing something weird with the battery pins on it.
You can with up to like this first generation of the PSP 2000s until they changed the motherboard. They made a TA83, I believe it was called, motherboard that then made it impossible to do the Pandora battery trick. But if you have the old motherboard revision, then yeah, you can easily do it. But with the PSP 3000, yeah, you're pretty much fucked. But fortunately, the HIN that I use, what is it called? Pro. It's got a safety measure, so there's no way you can fuck up the flash memory and brick it. It's very, very safe. I mean, Sony tried to brick my console, not the custom firmware. The custom firmware never gave me one bit of problem. It's always those updates from PlayStation, because people have bricked their systems. And I don't know why this isn't more of an outrage, but if anything interrupts or anything goes wrong in your flash memory, it gets corrupted or something, you can very easily brick a PSP. And not even hacking it, just normally doing it like user intended, like the company intended you to use it. If you go to like PlayStation forums and shit, there's literally hundreds of people just saying, I bricked my PSP just by downloading the new firmware. And if that happens on the new PS Vita or the PS3 or the PS4, Jesus, Sony's going to be fucked. They keep coming up with these new ways to combat the piracy and fuck everybody else up the ass. Just not fair.
Well, they're gonna start locking people down to games that they purchase, so
yeah.
Which is gonna drive everybody mental and realize that they can't sell their games.
And then nobody's gonna buy the PlayStation. Nobody's gonna buy the Xbox 720 because they're gonna do the same thing. And people are just gonna go back to PC gaming. So hallelujah, the PC revolution returns.
Well, but even then, if you buy games on Steam, you can't refund them and you can't give them to anyone. So it's kind of in the same boat, unless you go out and buy discs that don't have the Steam stuff on it, which you're going to end up getting the Microsoft games for Windows, which has that shitty HUD all over it, which actually makes the game run slower than it should do. And
Steam has pretty much saved, I think, the PC gaming. Steam has saved PC gaming because PC.
Yeah, I mean, Steam is really good. It's just that people will talk about not being able to sell their secondhand games for the next generation, but Steam is the same. It's just that you can actually download your games on more than one computer, which is probably the only redeeming thing about it. But
that's what I like about good old games is every game is DRM free.
Yeah,
and sure,
I think GOG and there's another company as well, very similar to them, .mu, which I think is the other company. I think faith to customers is the only thing that's going to keep some companies alive, because
what they're doing is awesome. I mean, like Good Old Games I would have pirated that Citizen Kabuto game if it weren't for the fact that it was only $3. It came with the fucking soundtrack, the manual, HD wallpaper, all these awesome extras that you can't get if you pirate them. And it's DRM free and easy to install. So it's better than piracy. And that's what people are looking for. They don't want to steal games. They want something that's easy to just click on it and it runs automatically and it works, and it just doesn't, you don't have to go through all this bullshit to get it to work on your computer or your console or whatever. That's all we want. And if they can't get that through their fucking heads, it's just going to kill the computing industry and the consoles, and people are just going to be playing retro games, and there's not going to be anything new coming out. Video games will die if they don't figure that out quickly.
Yeah, I think people need to follow the GOG and the .mu model.
It's awesome.
I mean, Steam has probably got DRM correct to a T.
Yeah.
But there are still limitations in it.
I mean, Steam games are pretty easy to install and run, but what I hate is the fact that you always have to be connected to Steam. And sometimes, like in Korea, my internet will fuck up and Steam will say something like, we can't connect to Steam, so you can't play your fucking game. It's like, what the fuck?
Really?
Yeah. It's always on.
I've had that happen to me before, and they gave me something weird, like a 2-day limit to have my internet connection back.
Oh, really?
There was an offline mode where it said, right, you've got 48 hours to have your internet connection back, or we will block you from your games.
Well, it's just annoying that I had the Steam client running, and every time there was some interruption in my internet connection, it would just pop up and say, we can't find Steam. I'm like, I'm not even playing a fucking game. Give a shit if Steam is working or not. I'm surfing.
See, Ubisoft has a really shitty DRM thing that runs in a similar way, where if you have to be online in order to play their games, in order to verify that your game is not a pirated copy. So if you do lose an internet connection, it'll even when you'll lose an internet connection in mid game, it'll basically take you out of the game.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that's
which I think is pretty crap. Surprisingly, they haven't done that with the console versions of their games. They did that for the PC versions of their games.
Oh God, that's
because for some random reason, even though Maplin don't really sell video games, we had this random copy of the latest, I think it was Settlers 6 or something, or whatever the latest Settlers game was. Mm-hmm. And I love the fact that there was a great big huge red label slapped onto it that said, warning, 24/7 internet connection required to play this game. I was like, yeah. And I did sell it somehow. I did manage to sell it to a customer, and I had to stress out this label to them. And they're like, "Yep, read it."
Comes with a warning label.
I was like, "Okay, you are sure you want this? Yep. Okay. I'm going to sell this to you. And if you come back saying you can't play this, I'm going to turn around and say you weren't fucking listening to me."
They should come with a warning label. Warning: inspired by H.R. Geiger.
No.
Listen to Remco's Baby Laugh a Lot. You're listening to Baby Laugh a Lot. She's the funniest doll you've ever seen. Just push the button and she starts to giggle. Get Baby Laugh a Lot by Remco.
There were these DNA strands sent to Earth. We mixed those DNA strands with human genes.
Why the fuck would you do that?
You were one of the results.
She was engineered.
Oh my God, we have met before. You're G178.
Best fucking pickup line ever.
To become the perfect fusion.
I don't know if I'm human or not, or if I have a soul or not.
Of human and alien DNA.
You're a new kind of life. A highly functional hybrid.
Highly fuckable, you mean?
There's just one problem.
She's sick. Not just sick, she's dangerous.
I don't care.
These aren't human.
It's mating season.
Do not underestimate these things. You set me up, you son of a bitch. She's a pure creature. She'll most likely be pregnant before nightfall. In 2 weeks, this entire town will be overrun.
Wow, you work fast, playa.
Are you feeling okay?
Never better.
Now it's time for Memoirs of a Gamer.
Well, I was thinking of doing like in chunks. Like I wasn't going to do the whole lot. I was kind of like what I was doing on the blog. I would go through like different parts based on different systems and different eras of or different years I've had for gaming. So, I started off with the beginning, the Genesis. Well, the Genesis as in the beginning,
not the system.
not the Sega Genesis. or the band, for that fact. I still remember that clip that UK Mike did, where he said, "Is it Mega Drive or is it
Genesis?
Sega or is it Genesis?" He actually plays a Genesis track.
There's a whole song that I ended up getting from them and mixing it in one of my videos where Scott is saying Sega or Mega Drive or Genesis.
But unless you want to like do a tag team where we can discuss like each other's history in video games.
Sounds good. Sounds good. My voice is a little rough, but we'll try it out and see if it sounds all right.
All right. Okay. All right. So this is well. Okay. Loud. Trying to think of a better way to start. Okay. So a while back, I was writing this blog thing where I was gonna basically write about my history into video games, which I called Memoirs of a Gamer, in similar retrospect to Memoirs of a Geisha, which is kind of ironic. But I didn't go very far into it. I probably did about 2 or 3 articles, and then I just gave up on the blog in general, because I wasn't just doing that. I was doing blogs about other things. But since November, I think, I haven't posted a damn thing because I've been that lazy. But I just thought that maybe doing an audio blog of the same article and the same subject would actually end up being something a little easier, rather than me, tapping on keys, thinking, "Oh God, what I've got to do next." So I can just do this as an audio blog, and hopefully I can get Indy to probably chime in with his own stuff about his history into gaming. So,
sounds good.
My earliest experience was probably going to be with the microcomputers. I knew what video games were, but I didn't really. It wasn't like I was born with
computer in your hands,
controller or like a controller, or with an Atari joystick stuck down my throat. It wouldn't be until I started going into school that because I was born, I went to school at a time when BBC Micros were being given to schools at a very big discount. So I went to a school where there was pretty much a BBC Micro in almost every classroom. And this got me just hooked on just computers and technology in general. And this was kind of the catalyst which would end up getting me into gaming, because at the same time, it was either 89 or 90, I can't remember what year this was, but my dad noticed that I was, playing a lot with the classroom's BBC Micro. So he actually bought a Commodore 64 from a mate of his who with talking to some other people on Retro Gaming Roundup, was more likely to be the fact that, because that was the same year that the Amiga came out, and he was probably selling his Commodore 64 so that he can actually have extra money to get his Amiga. So I ended up with this. My dad came home one night with a huge bin liner or a trash bag with a Commodore 64 and the biggest collection of cassettes ever. And there was at least 100 games. I mean, it was mad. There was just so many tapes in that bag. It was amazing. I still to this day have never played every single one of those games.
Wow.
But
do you still have that Commodore 64?
He came home. He even managed to buy a black and white TV off a different guy, and we hooked the Commodore 64 up to the teeny tiny black and white TV that had one of those rotary dials on the front to tune it in. And we were playing Commodore, and there was one game I remember. I can't remember if it was exactly the first game I tried playing on it. I know there was at least two games I remember pulling out. One was Pac-Man Mania. Pac-Mania, excuse me, which was the isometric view Pac-Man. And the other one was a game called Pod, or a game, it meant Proof of Destruction, which was a really trippy version of Space Invaders, where everything had a blast radius, and it kind of also had a grid runner theme to it, because you were actually moving a character on a grid, but as you blew up enemies, those enemies would blow up, and bits of the grid would disappear, so you couldn't cross them. But they would very slowly recover. They would start to slowly grow back again. But you couldn't point blank kill these things, because you just get caught up in the explosion and you get yourself killed. Which was the game is freaking hard. I've got it on emulation, and I still can barely play the damn game because it's that fast and that difficult and that insane. Everything was just moving really sporadically, and everything was damn fast. And you can die in bonus levels, which drove me nuts.
Yeah, that's a bit ridiculous.
I remember the backgrounds in that game were really trippy. They looked kind of like an 8-bit version of a Microsoft Media Player visualization. It's like, whoa. 8-bit trip there. And then, as I said, I have Pac-Mania on the Commodore 64 as well, which I think I've talked about that before. That was made. It was published by. Well, it was made by a company called, I think it was a company called Grandstand, but they actually got the rights from Namco to make it. So it was a very rare, I wouldn't say rare, but it's it was a Japanese game that was actually developed, is a Japanese intellectual property which got programmed by a British team. So it was actually a British programmed game, but Namco gave the rights to Grandstand to make it for the Commodore 64.
Wow. That's a convoluted history. Thanks again for joining us on another episode of Stalking the Retro.